DC here. Hi guys. Well, Saturday morning, Mrs. DC is working all weekend, so I had a little bit of shopping things to do this morning. So walking back from town and thought, well, you know, what is a better time to vlog than when you are walking? That keeps you busy, doesn't it? So across the street. So this week, well, it's the first week back after the New Year's, so a few days. I worked for 2 days after the New Year's period, and I was, as usual, going over the New York Times, because I know it might seem strange, but there's a lot of sometimes leads for ideas and projects within there. You know, if you look at trends, what are the trends in society and so on? Yeah, what are the trends in society for health and so on? Well, then, yeah, you can get some pretty good ideas, you know, for different innovative projects. And while I was looking at that, there was an article in the science section. I probably would have put it in the pop psychology, but it was still pretty interesting. It was basically going on the fact that you're never able to perceive, or you rarely perceive in your younger years, what you'll be later on. And I thought, well, that's rocket science, isn't it? I mean, how many of us can tell into the future? But the idea was, behind there, is that very often, when we're at a certain age, very often, especially when we're younger, it's like if we perceive ourselves to be at the top, I guess, of our mental abilities. I don't know if we perceive it if consciously, but unconsciously, which very often doesn't. It's like if we don't see us being more than what we are. I was reading that, and I was thinking, well, is that really true? Because that would basically mean that none of us would have any ambitions if that was the way. So I was wondering about that. And I thought, well, it might be true to a point if one thinks very often of political mindsets. Very often, when you're younger, compared, let's say in your early 20s, compared to mid-50s, quite often your political mindset has changed. Very often, going from a more leftist perspective towards a more, I wouldn't say completely right, but shifting right, going towards the center or whatever. I think that's because very often reality sets in. And when reality sets in, you can see what you can achieve, or what can be achieved compared to what your ideals are. So, I guess maybe in that respect, yeah, when you're young, you don't perceive how things will be when you're older. On the other hand, if that was your perspective on your ambitions, well, geez, nothing would happen, would there? Nobody would want to be anything. Yeah, I don't know. You know, sometimes you get these articles from so-called specialists, and when you delve into them a bit, you think like, well, not complete hogwash, but a certain amount. Yeah. On a completely other line, and a sad one as well, is day before yesterday, so that would have been Thursday, I guess, we had our own shooting in a village in Switzerland near the Alps. Mentally deranged person who used to have guns that they had been taken away from him, but somehow got his hands on a last century last century musketoon or whatever, and a shotgun. So I mean, you know, an old style shotgun. Shot 3 women, wounded 2 men. I guess one of the men, from what I understand, was part of a couple. And yeah, the 3 women were killed. I don't know about one of the men. I know that he's been badly wounded. And the other one, I guess, is wounded, but not in danger for his life. So, yeah, of course, people have already started to talk about registering arms and so on. And I mean, it is the same type of debate you guys have been hearing in the States now since the Sandy Hook tragedy. Thing is, though, is that it's a terrible thing. And I'm afraid that, you know, I mean, it just shows, I mean, you got a shotgun, you can kill somebody anyway. The advantage is, though, is that since over here, even though media seems to say that every Swiss person has an assault rifle at home, which is not completely false. We've got one under lock, which is my son's military weapon, but we don't have any munition. You can't get munition for it. But I mean, since there was no assault weapon, well, luckily only 3 people, it's terrible to say that, only 3 people were killed. And the policeman managed to take the guy down, or at least wound him pretty badly. So yeah, the whole arms debate over here as well. Well, mishmash of things while I'm walking, and I'm almost home. So I'll be DC signing off on probably a way too long video. Take care. No.